Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Coffee Talk. I'm Guido. It is the 10th of November on a Sunday morning, bright and shiny here in Florida, one day before Veterans Day, actually, in America. I think Remembrance Day as well for China. China. I'll get to China. China's on my mind. That's up for the subject du jour. We'll get to that. Very interesting. Remembrance Day for Canada, right? Canada. Is that also in England? I think that's a Commonwealth thing, I believe. I know I have a lot of Brits watching, so or at least a few. I'm going to exaggerate and call it thousands. There are thousands of British people following me and watching my videos. Don't worry that it's only like 180, 150 views. There's thousands. That's how you do the self-promotion. You just throw out some wild words and see what happens. Seems to work for most politicians, doesn't it? I always say we're not going to go to political, but I have a political kind of mind today. We're gonna get to it though. We're gonna get to it. It's in regards to China. We'll get there though. I think I'm a little agitated right now at wargaming, but we'll find out what that is later. Let's keep it positive. We'll keep it positive. Speaking of positive, my next stream should be soft time right now. Tomorrow on Veterans Day. I know I said it might be Wednesday, but my days off is actually Veterans Day because that's. Oh, I just hit something. Actually Veterans Day, and that will be Monday. So planning on 0900 to 1200 Central. We shall see. We shall see because the FAM is off as well, so I may actually be doing FAM stuff during that time. I'm going to try to stream in there, so just stand by. The Rom Panzer winner. You may notice that I have this called up right here, and this was my Rom Panzer contest going positive last week, which got 186 comments. Fantastic. That's a lot for me. How many views did it get? 518 views. Interesting that 518 people viewed it, but only 186 were interested in a Rom Panzer. So perhaps it sold really well. I don't know. The winner is Meldethe, Meldethe. Man, I boiled this down. So many fantastic comments, and I'm going to do a video where I go through those. I'm not going to do that today because it's going to be a long video, but just great comments on why people like the game. But I liked this one. I went through all of them. I answered every one of them. Talked to all you guys. Appreciate that. I really do. But Meldethe made a great point in just a simple statement. Plain and simple, just getting to play the game. Plain and simple, just getting to play the game. How much is contained in that one sentence? I think a whole bunch is contained in that one sentence. Just getting to play the game. Somebody made the game. I have the time and the wherewithal to play the game. I have the money to afford the computer or the console, or I have a friend who has one, or I can get to just all the things that have to come together to play a video game online, and being pleased, at least being conscious for a moment. I think we all do this. We kind of forget, but conscious for a moment that the cool thing about the game is just the fact that you get to play it. Right? For that moment while you're there, whatever your troubles are, whatever your problems are, whatever's going on, you can play a game for a little while, and you get to play the game. I thought that was a great comment. And I know I'm reading way too much into it. It may have been he just thought, well, I couldn't think of anything. I'm just going to write this down. But I found that statement was, if you unpacked it and peeled it back, was a pretty significant statement. And really, at the end of the day, is the bottom line for all the statements. But there's some great reasons in here when we get into the actual gameplay reasons from everybody. So we'll talk about those later. I will do a video on that. All right, that's channel news. That's the winner. Congrats to Meldethe. Won the Rom Panzer. I will get that information to Domo, and he will credit that out as soon as possible. Let's move on to missions and specials because there's some interesting things going on with those. Okay, folks, we're gonna. You know it's bad when I start laughing from the beginning, right? So, some pretty cool 3D styles have come out. They've brought on this artiste. I don't know the guy's name. A bunch of people seem to know it. He was, I believe, Silent Hill. Is that the game he did? He's the art director or the artist or something like that. Clearly a talented person. Clearly an expensive person. these, we'll get to how you get these in a minute, or what these are attached to. How you get these particular ones are in the store, which is why we're talking about it first. These styles, the Revenant style for the E50, the Panther 2, E50M, and the E50 and the Panther 2. So the Tier 8, 9, and 10 German medium tanks, at least that particular line, the E50 line. Well, I don't know what to say, folks, because they're this is the best part, isn't it? Because I just saw this. The Tier 8 style is $16. It's actually $17 because it's 0.99. The E50, because it's Tier 9, I assume adds $1. I'm sure the difficulty of the skin was no more. And then for a Tier 10, you add another $1 for $19. All right, folks. These are 3D skins. It's just a skin. I assume it gives you the camo bonus like any camo does. This is what it looks like, which it's granted pretty cool. Looks like it's slightly different for each tank. This happens to be the Panther version. Wow. You can buy all three, if I can force it back there, for $43, $44, and coupons will work, so that'll bring it down. Man, that, I don't know, Wargaming, that's hard to swallow. Is that how much they were, or the other 3Ds they've sold? I don't remember. I thought they were more like 10. Nearly $20 for all intents and purposes. I mean, it's 19. $20 for a skin? Ah, man, I don't know. That's rough. I mean, it is. I don't know what the contract was with this guy, but he apparently gets a lot of money out of it. Or maybe he doesn't and you do. I don't get it, man. Honestly, I don't. And I defend this a lot. I'm a collector. I like the cosmetic pieces. I've said it in the past. They're insanely overpriced. And maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. And to create these things between the artists and the 3D modelers and everybody, perhaps the cost sunk into building these kind of one-off things is so much that they have to spend that much on, or have to sell them for that much. But really, do you? I don't. If it was a third of that price, would you sell 5 times as many? Maybe. I don't know. Again, I say this a lot. Wargaming's got the numbers, so there's some marketing / monetary thing going on here that drives these prices. But just on the surface, that's just a plain old no-go for me. It's probably a no-go at $10, really, to be quite honest, because that's just not my thing. I love winning them, and as prizes for events, I think that's a really good idea. As actual cash up front buying, this is not something I would do. But I know a lot of people do. A lot of you guys probably like it, and that's fine. That's a good thing. My point is the price point. I don't get it. It seems outrageous, to be quite honest. All right, enough of that. So we'll move on. What else is being sold? Type 62, that was last week. Skoda is back in the shop. You can pick up a Rom Panzer, especially if you're one of the 185 people who didn't just win one. Congrats, Meldeeth. Let's move on to gold. See what we got going on in the gold. All right, this this is awesome. Look at this thing. Excuse me. The Watt Salute stuff is still out, but check out this thing right here. This guy. Whoa, $449. And I looked at this and I saw the ad thing come up on the main page, and I said, World Single Day, what the WTF is that? That's what we're going to get to in a minute, because I found out what it was, and it was very interesting. But we're talking about money and what you can get, and I looked at this and went, whoa, $450? What do you get? You get 111,111 gold and 11 million credits, which is enough for not even 2 tier 10s. 1 2/3 of a tier 10, something along those lines. That's actually a decent deal when you throw a coupon on it. It comes down to, for me anyway, $360 for 111,000 gold. And if you go in there and the most gold you can buy at one time is 99,000, and that came out to 300 and, well, let's find out. That's $360. If I put 999,000, or yeah, 99,999 would be impressive. If I put 99,000, which is the most apparently you can put in there, that's 396. So as a matter of fact, that is actually a pretty decent deal for a bunch of gold. But I find that kind of interesting because Christmas is coming up, foreshadowing. I'm going to give some Christmas speculation. These are the things that kind of worry me a little bit about Christmas, but we'll get to that in a minute. Still, on the surface of it, on the face of it, that's a pretty darn good deal, and you're getting the 11 million silver kind of on top. You're getting a fairly decent discount on the gold. And remember, I put 99,000 and there's another 12,000 unaccounted for because I didn't do that math. Really, it's a big chunk, but for a whale, that's a pretty decent deal. In fact, I would say that's almost as good as last year's Christmas boxes if you bought a bunch of them. We'll get to that. We're going to get to that. All right. Wanted to throw that out, let you know. That is, one of those top 1% players kind of idea there. This is also a decent deal and is more ammo for my speculation. But right before Christmas, we have a very good discount on premium for a year. They actually did this last year as well. So maybe not as big a deal as I'm making it out to be. But with a coupon, you can knock it down to $65 if you've got one of the 20%ers like I happen to have. That's a pretty decent deal on premium. $65 for a year. That's probably about as good as you're going to get at Christmas by adding premium days, if there are premium days in the boxes. If. All right. So go back over to vehicles, see what's going on here. There's nothing really new. We already covered all this stuff. These big American packages are still in there. The T-78's actually back out, so you can pick that one up if you missed it last time. It's got the 3D style. Some of these packages have, not 3D, sorry, the Patriot or America style or whatever it's called right there. Not a bad deal. And we hit over to specials and what we got. Anything new? Nope, we're back to those camos. Wow. That's a lot for a... I keep calling it camo. To be fair, it's not a camo. It's a 3D style, and that is a little more significant than just a plain old camo as far as the optics of it or the way it looks. Pretty much all the same stuff here. There's the 10 parking passes. You can get 5 parking slots. We'll cover that in a minute for tank rewards. I didn't realize this, but one of the rewards for it is 5 parking slots, and that's a great deal for free to play. And the tank rewards is really easy to get to, even with free to play. All right, that's cool. So we got that. Let's go ahead and move on to all the different missions and specials because there's some things you guys need to know about all those. Okay, there's a lot of codes. At the beginning of every month, there's always a lot of codes you have to put in, and then there was a code that snuck by me, and I'm going to show it to you here today. I didn't put it in till today, and I'd have been pretty far down this road for this one, and it's a little bit irritating because we're going to have to get to the UI in a minute and talk a little bit about it as well, but let's just start with Celebrate Veterans and Remembrance Day. That's going on, no code for that. It's just discounts and times 5 XP, which you see in your garage, so old school. It just shows up, none of this code shenanigans. So for that Veterans Day thing, for the discounts and stuff, that's good. Okay. Now we get to the Spooky Challenge, which partially showed up in your UI. And I say partially because there's another section you may not know about. All right. So the unique styles and bunch of in-game rewards. This Hell's Bell, Strike Fear, Touch of Evil to a 2D style, this one right here, is in your UI. It just showed up. Okay, there was no code. That's the one you're probably aware of if you've been paying attention to it. However, there's another code, the second mission set, the Hellfire Journey. Here's how this works. You have to pick... No, we're not going to do that because I already picked that. Stop it. All right. You have to pick one of these 3 tanks. And I don't have the little... Oh, here it is right here. You have to pick one of these, 5 tanks. I said 3, but I meant 5. Those are the styles right there. And you're going to click this button when you pick the tank you want the style for. Those are the only choices, these 5. You click that, it takes you to a code, input automatically, and you say select or input or whatever. And then what that means is that's the style you will get when you finish these missions. But you have to start it with a code. That's what I did not know. And I just started it today, and it's fairly significant. 20,000 HP of damage caused, 45,000 damage to any number of battles. Second round, final round, 65,000 of damage. That's a lot of damage. And this goes to, I want to say next week sometime, Monday, November 18th. So I did a lot of damage yesterday that I did not get because I did not know this code was here. A little bit annoying. A little bit annoying right now, but I wanted you guys to know that, so that's there. All right. There are also the 3D skins. These are the Revenant things I talked about that you can buy that happens to be splashed out on the same page. making you sort of think it's part of the mission, but it's just part of the event. And all of these are piled onto one page. Now, usually I'm death on multiple clicks to get something. I like it to be combined. This was really confusing to me. I didn't really understand it. It took me a lot longer than I would have liked to unpack this, and it just seemed very strange. Why there can't be kind of a summary up here about what each of the three things are, or separate pages potentially, I don't know. I'm not really sure what the answer is, but this just took me a long time to figure out. But there you go. The 2D just happens. First mission set. Second mission set, you're going to have to come down here and pick your style and put the code in. And this is not a mission, it's you buy these 3D skins, all right? So I think I got that right. That's what we got going on there. Okay, there's a new mastery set up for the Ace Mastery thing. And the way you're going to do that is right here, Wave 2. You're going to have to activate those. These are over, I believe. They just ended. Yes, they ended on the 8th. So these are the 4 that are active right now. 237, Type 58, a mill, and 110 E4. And you do get some goodies for these. You actually get a reserve when you do an ace in these things. So you get a little symbol, an emblem, which is kind of whatever. But you also get a reserve. So it's probably worth activating, especially if you're grinding that line or you like that tank. It's probably worth jumping out there and trying it. Okay. Okay, single day. Single day is the Type 62, and there's a bunch of war chests for it, and then you've got this big package that I talked about. Okay, we're gonna get to that in subjects du jour, but that is out there as well. There's no code that I can see anyway. It's just, hey, spend some money. Like, we'll get to that. We'll get to it. All right. Frontline. Frontline is coming back. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll go through some of the details of that. And I think we've covered everything I wanted to talk about. Yep, so let's go to the UI and see what's going on with the missions. All right, I moved and got smaller. I moved and got some... I'm shrinking. Okay, Hellfire Journey. That is the one that you had to put the code in. There's your 3 things. There's a day of premium involved. There's tickets, of course, because we have to have tickets. And then we get to the Revenant style, which will go on anything. 2D style. All right, so that's the Hellfire Journey. Scavenger Hunt, that's the ongoing thing. I haven't played yet today, so I haven't done that. I haven't done the Scavenger Hunts. I've been a bit remiss in this because I've only got 7 completed, and I think I only have 7 collected, and it's the 10th. So, yeah. Now, what the thing is, at the end of this, it's the big experience dump that you get. What I really want to get is make sure I get to 20 because I want the garage slot. These experience things at 30 and 31. We do have 31 days. Nope, here we go again. Okay. So the assumption then, as I assume, making an ass of you and me, is that Domo or somebody will put the extra 3 that we usually get onto our accounts, and we'll end up being able to get to 31. Because as of right now, math in public, there's 30 days in November, and that says 31. So I'm assuming we can't get there without some help. We're gonna need some Domo. We need some outside help, man. Okay. Can't we adjust this or something? I don't. Whatever. Okay. I don't understand it. But there you go. Maybe the assumption is that he's always going to give us the extra ones piled on top, so we're always going to be able to get to 31, no matter how many days happen to be in the month. I can think of other ways to do that, but considering the difficulty with coordinating with corporate sometimes, or the mothership, perhaps that's the easiest way to do it. Anyway, it's worth doing because you get a bunch of reserves. Especially if you're a newer player and you don't have reserves built up, make sure you're doing the scavenger hunt, because those reserves are fantastic for early grinds. All right, so any of my new players who have showed up and are watching the channel, I highly recommend doing this. Just takes a little bit of hunting to get the code. There are some people who were putting the codes on my videos at times, but if you go to the Discord, the World of Tanks Discord, there is a scavenger hunt channel, and it has all the details that you need. So for us old guys, sometimes Discord is hard, but really it's actually easy. I recommend doing that. Get the World of Tanks Discord channel and do it that way. There's my random tangent for the day. Trick or treat. This was something that happened where you picked either the one side or the other, and I got the soldier crab things. Tank mastery is what I talked about. You know what? I activated all 4. What happened? Apparently not. I thought I did. I'm gonna have to go find which one. Which one did I not do? The 58, the Emil, and the first one, whatever it was. All right, the patent on track. That's also a code. I didn't mention that earlier. The on track is a code. It started October 30th, so I'm a little bit behind the power curve. But I don't know if I've really played. Actually, I played the Pershing once, so that would have counted. The good news is this goes to a premium tank if you go all the way through. The bad news is it's a bloody tier 2, pert near useless. And you don't get the gold for it, so that's kind of a bummer. But you do get credits. And there's a garage slot, and there's some equipment along the way and other goodies. What, every 10,000, I believe, you get these guys right here. Not a bad deal. Make sure that if you're grinding that line, you obviously go ahead and activate the on-tracks. Juliet is the Twitch Prime thing. Twitch Prime, Amazon Prime, blah, blah, blah. Play your vehicle type right. Always make sure you activate that at the beginning of the month. Here's the tank rewards. This is actually pretty easy, and I think I talked about it last week. I've talked about it on stream. Because if you are a veteran and you've done the ID Me thing and you have linked your account and they know you're a veteran, then you get an extra mission, the Salute Victory mission, which is another 100 tickets, which means every day you can get 200 tickets just for playing a battle. There's only, I'll have to look over here. I want to say it's the highest reward is at 22,000. I think I'm tripping it today. And this thing goes to the 26th. We'll be on the 11th and I'm done with it. So I'll get the last reward. Unfortunately, the last reward is a premium tank I already have. And you don't get gold or silver, which is super irritating. Because I want everything for free. But I will get the garage slot. That's what I'm after. And it's a no-brainer. You're just playing the game. So why not? Make sure you're going to tankrewards.com and you are getting all this good stuff. This one is automatic, I believe. There were no codes. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure there's no codes. So if you don't know about this one and you haven't been paying attention, go to tankrewards.com, log in with your World of Tanks ID. It is a wargaming site. It's just a separate website. Go to tankrewards.com, make sure you log in and collect your stuff because it's sitting there waiting for you. Languishing. Other missions is, I didn't realize this, but this thank you for your service, which was connected to the ID Me veteran thing, actually goes to, I think I clicked on it, to 1 January. So you're getting these bonuses by playing a battle just off the top. Again, great for grinding if you're a veteran and you've done the ID thing right there. All right, and that was a lot. That was a lot. Where are we here? Oh, Sunday morning. This is good coffee. I got some nice French roast here. What do you guys got going on today? I got to go to a fundraiser later. Got to go to a Habitat for Humanity fundraiser. But it's down at the on the water. It'll be pretty nice. Let's see. We got the codes, spooky challenge, veterans. We got the interesting specials out of the way. All right. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I forgot to discuss this whole thing. So this spooky challenge is the thing that threw me off here. This was an event. Okay, so it's an event. It showed up in the events tab, and I went, okay, there's the event. And then I looked at the web page, which we already looked at a moment ago, and it said spooky challenge. And it said, oh, there's some other, the 3D styles are there too, but I didn't really dig into the 3D styles, and that's the code. So where does the code put the mission? The code puts the missions over here. For Hellfire Journey, which is actually part of this event, or it's not. And as you can see, I haven't done any of these because I didn't know. Anywho, I just wanted to let you guys know that. That's awesome, isn't it? Oh, man. Okay. That brings us to subjects du jour. Let's do it. All right, I did want to double check and make sure. It is only 2,200, so that's only 11 days without doing the other little missions. You get less tickets for the little ones. I think the low tier, mid tier, high tier ones, they give you less tickets. But in 11 days of just playing a game, you can have your 2,200 and get your tier 5 premium tank. That is a fantastic deal, to be quite honest. So kudos to Wargaming. This is the one I picked here, the garage slots, and it was 5. I thought it was 1. Then I went, holy cow, I get 5 garage slots for only, I don't remember what the points were. It wasn't much. It was 1,800 or something like that. Or 7 days. That's fantastic. 3 days and some garage slots, I guess. And 3 garage slots. Great deal. Some blueprints, coupons, kits, that's okay. Same thing, equipment. Although it's interesting because I find the equipment to be worth more than the kits, although it's a lot of kits, 35. 35. You know, I looked at this and did the math. I believe I took the repair kits because I use well more repair kits than I use first aid kits. That's just, I think everybody will find that. So I selected, you can see well done, I selected the repair kits because that seemed to be the one that I use the most of, and I tend to be the lowest on repair kits. I think, I don't know, let me know down below. That's what I feel like is the thing that gets used. I never really thought about it that much, but I feel like that's the thing that gets used the most right there. Then I took the garage slots because I have plenty of premium, and then I'll select one of these, but I'm going to end up with the crew, I think, and a garage slot right there. So I wanted to throw that out for you guys. There you go. Oh, and for the scavenger hunt, the credit boosters were fixed. So we should be getting the credit boosters, and they are going to, I believe, credit you for the, I want to say 4 days, if you did the first 4 days of credit boosters you didn't get. So checks in the mail on that one, but that's my understanding on what was going to go on. All right, now let's talk about Frontline. Because Frontline is coming back for its final episode. Episode 10. As soon as I find this bloody thing, here it is. Episode 10, Ultimate Battle. But here's what you want to know. Here's what you want to know. These are the tanks, the STA, the WZ, the Emil, and the AE Phase 1. The STA-2 is a pretty darn good Tier 8 medium tank, but it sees Tier 10s. Still, it can handle itself. I don't know if I recommend the preferentials anymore. I used to play the fool out of those things, but that's a little rough these days. It's not a bad tank, but it's not nearly as good as it was with preferential in the past. Just the way the game has gone, preferential has ceased being as important or good as it was. Which sort of leaves the tanks behind because they have kind of crummy pen, even though they got a slight buff in the recent past. I like the Emil 1951, and the AE Phase 1 is unique. So it'll depend on how far you get. Remember, you have to get all the way to episode 10, or sorry, up to Prestige 10 to even have a chance to buy the AE Phase 1. Even if you have the, I want to say it was 15 tokens to get it, you still have to have Prestige 10 to even unlock being able to get it. So the point of all that is you'll have enough tokens to, if you did everything in Frontline all the way to 10 like I did, then you will have enough tokens to get both the Emil and the AE Phase 1. Or one of those and another one with some left over. And that's important because you're going to exchange prestige points for gold and bonds. Okay, prestige points. I don't know what I call them, ranks or whatever, but it's points. And you can be, it's a little confusing. You can be prestige level 10, and as I recall, you can have up to 27, I believe, prestige points. I happen to have 12 left because I used 15 for the AE Phase 1. Don't quote, there it is. It's right there, actually, right in front of my bloody face. 15 for the AE Phase 1 and 12 for the Emil. Because I was given this, I'm in pretty good shape here, because I was given this to do content on, I already had it in the garage, so I didn't have to spend the 12. I happen to have 12 left over. But let's say you got all the way to Prestige 10 and you had your 27 Prestige points, and you go, I want the AE Phase 1, now I have 12 left over, and I don't want any of these other tanks. Well, now you can do something with them. What you can do is trade one of those points for 300 gold or 100 bonds. So in my case, 3,600 gold, math in public, or 1,200 bonds. I think that's a little off. I think that's low. That should really be a lot more than 100 bonds. 3,600 gold or only 1,200 bonds. That's very interesting. Very interesting to me. So, you know, they're trying to figure out the economy, but I think that's off a little bit. I'm probably going to end up taking the bonds because what I really want to do is build up to the 121B as fast as possible right there, even though I kind of blew off ranked battles. God, what a disaster that was. Anyway, there's also a discount, and I didn't read this too deeply, but there's a discount on rental vehicles. If you used gold to rent them, then they will give you a discount on buying it outright at the end. So just take a look at that. If you did any of that kind of thing, it might be worth picking up that rental if you get a decent enough discount for it. If you bought personal reserves, for frontline personal reserves, I believe it, you will be compensated the full cost of those purchased for gold. happens automatically. Nothing you have to do. I actually bought one, I think, because I sort of miscalculated how much I was going to need. And I bought one, so I think I'll get back its cost or its worth in gold at the end. And what I read here, it says that it will consider your free ones used first. So if you don't end up using the ones you bought, so you bought 5 or whatever and you had 6 reserves left over, that would mean you had 1 free one left over and 5 of the purchased, and then they will compensate you for whatever of the purchased are left over using the free ones first. Does that make sense? That way it's always whatever your purchased ones are used last. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. And it looks like they're planning on another season because it says see you all next season right there. All right, I think that's everything for Frontline that you want to know. All right, let's talk about my Grill 15 Pain. So as you may have noticed, if you watched my stream the last week or 2 weeks or so, my last 2 streams, I've been trying to work on the campaign missions, and the one I was working on recently was the damage at 5,000 damage for a German or Japanese tank. And I looked at my tanks and went, well, probably the Grill would be a good one because it didn't require a win, so I didn't really need the carry potential. I just needed to drop 5,000 damage. So why not hang out in the back and win or lose? Let's see if I can drop my 5,000 damage. I think the secondary condition or the honors condition was kill 3 tanks or something. Well, this took a lot longer than I would like to imagine. And it was over 30 battles because my Grill is actually ranked now because I did the 30 battles. Over 30 battles just to get 5. Think about that. Over 30 battles for me just to get a 1 game at 5,000 damage. And it was getting really frustrating. I think you guys saw me stream a lot of those games. Then I sat down yesterday and just ground it out trying to make it happen. I eventually did make it happen. And then I wanted to take the Grill. And I wanted to take Wargaming's stats, or what I like to refer to as their lies. I'm just kidding, Wargaming. I love you guys. But you're lying about this. You have to be. I can't figure it out, man. So let's look at this. Look at the dispersion with my setup. This is pure tryhard mode. I have Brothers in Arms and a decent crew. Not amazing, but decent. Brothers in Arms. I am running the gun laying drive. I have this stinking chocolate, the chocolat. I was running as many directives as I could, usually the aim tuning until I ran out of them. Doing as much as I could. But you look at this and you're thinking, wow, .24 is amazing. What an accurate gun. I'm telling you what, there is something going on with this tank. There's some kind of soft stat or there's something I'm missing here. Because even the aim time is amazing, supposedly. Which I don't see, to be quite honest. Because it seems like it takes forever for this thing to zoom in. I don't believe any of this. And it's not that I don't believe the numbers are the numbers. It's just that in execution, it does not work that way. It simply doesn't. It is unbelievable at how inaccurate, derpy, and bouncy this gun is. Now, here's one of the reasons that I found because I started digging into it, which I didn't really realize. This thing has relatively bad pen for a tier 10 TD, right? At 279 and only 334 with a heat round. All right, usually heat rounds are these ridiculous leaps and bounds because they have negatives being a heat round. Some pretty high positives, but some pretty serious negatives with tracks and bouncing weird angles and things like that. For example, if you look at the GW100, it sits at, sorry, not the GW. If you look at the GW100, it's an artillery. If you look at the Jagdpanzer E100, it sits at 299 and then gets 120 more with its heat round. This thing gets 50. And it starts at a crummy 279. Now, relatively, that's pretty bad for a TD. Pretty bad. So part of my angst with this tank is that its pen and heat is bad. And I never really thought about it too much, you know, because I don't play a whole bunch of tier 10. I'm starting to get into it a little bit more, getting a little bit better at the tier 10 stuff. But it was very eye-opening on this tank to play that many battles in a row and the sheer frustration. I have rarely been that frustrated in World of Tanks, watching and looking at stats and trying to figure out how a tank performs and having an expectation that simply did not pan out. And for many of the battles, I'm like, all right, I'm doing something wrong here. What? I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I got to figure it out. So I kept going. And I probably should have left it and played one of the heavies and hoped for a 5,000 damage game. But I knew this could do it. It blew my mind at how bad this tank really is in the current meta, and especially in regards to what its gun is supposed to be and what it actually appears to perform as. It was eye-opening, folks, and it was very, very bizarre. So I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys have an idea down below to take a look and go, you know what, Guido, here's one of the reasons. I think a lot of it is the pen is crap. But as far as being this hyper-accurate sniper, now, I mean, here's a question. What is a leopard sitting at? Okay, see, this is absolutely amazing, right? 27156. This thing's gun is unbelievably awesome, and I've done a video on it. In theory, according to the numbers, it is worse than this gun, but it's not even close to as bad as this gun. The Leopard gun is leaps and bounds better. So I don't know, man. It's rarely am I really at a loss. For the most part, I think I just say, well, you know, there's a reason, or here's the numbers, here's the way it looks. It's usually you to a large extent. So if you change some things you're doing, man, that was unbelievably frustrating. And there's something wrong with that tank. All right, so here it is. I actually got it above 100 battles. Remember my 100 battle challenge I'm slowly doing in the background. So that was nice. I got it above 100. I dropped a couple percentage of win rates, though, in those last 30 because I started at 56, I think, and I did poorly. We'll look at the Hall of Fame stuff here in just a minute. But this is what really blew my mind with this tank. Only 76% hit rate. And this is a tank that I'm sitting in the back. Usually with nicely zoomed shots. Rarely am I raging around doing snapshots with this thing like you would in a Leopard. Right? What's my Leopard sitting at? 80. And this is a tank that I take a lot of moving shots with. Right? And a lot more shots per game, basically. It's incredible. I don't get it, man. And so Battle Survive's pretty good. Doing good damage. That's okay damage caused to enemy vehicles. It's not great for tier 9, 10. It's actually pretty average for tier 10. Now let's go ahead and look here in the Hall of Fame, because this also surprised me. Go to the rating. We always have to do this because for whatever reason it never loads the first time. I don't quite understand why. And look at Guido. Is it position 5? With a measly 4,343 tank rating, WTR. Sitting at number 5 with a 48% win rate, only 2,700 at tier 10. This is not a good tier 10, guys. This guy's getting the most out of it. So good on Heat Noob. Yeah, I recognize that name. Good on Heat Noob for what he's doing with it. The rest of us, this is a bad tier 10, man. So whatever the nerf is, or whatever the reason, whatever the soft stat reason is for this thing's gun being unbelievably bad compared to what its stats say, probably should be fixed. Look at me, I'm rocking in the KV3, huh? Does that make me number 1? It would. It would if I could maintain it, but unfortunately that's only after like 9 battles, so I'd need another 21. I'll play that a little bit, we'll see. All right, I just wanted to throw that out. Maybe some of you guys have an idea, you know, what my noobishness is in the Grill 15, but here's the thing, unless you spend a lot of time in a tank in a row, you don't start to see some of these kind of strange things. And it always surprises me when I find something like that lurking around. Because I think 2 weeks ago, if you just said, hey, the Grill 15's gun isn't even close to what it's advertised, I'd go, I don't know, it's probably you. I don't know, man. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe there is something to that. Let's move on. I need to go refresh my coffee. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, here's the slightly political. We're not gonna get crazy about it, but I think it had to be said because it sort of blew my mind when I saw the specials and it said World Singles Day or World Single Day. Is it singles or single? Singles Day. I said, what on earth is World Singles Day, 11/11? Well, that's right on Veterans Day. And okay, we don't own that. The West doesn't own it. What's Veterans Day? It started with World War One. It's the end of World War One, basically, but has morphed into thinking about the veterans, which is what it was to begin with, but now we got more wars piled on top of that. And so it's not a case of Western centric, no one else matters. But I did laugh that it was World Singles Day because it's a Chinese holiday. I went, okay, well, maybe this is, some ancient Chinese thing that's now kind of become a deal. And interesting. Let's look at it. Let's research what World Singles Day. But even in the back of my mind, I'm like, wait a minute. Based on the name, I'm like, okay. So we come in here into the origins. I'm on Wikipedia. Granted, it's Wikipedia, but at least as far as the basics go, it should be pretty good. World Singles Day originated at Nanjing University in 1993. Okay. And then it spread to several other universities. Apparently, it's a big shopping day in China. So it's sort of taken fire. It's a relatively new, I don't know if you'd call it a holiday, but it's a thing. Kind of like Black Friday, I suppose. That wasn't really a thing until, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. The electronic Friday or Monday or Cyber Monday, is that what it is? Obviously is something new as well. So it's kind of a big shopping thing, and they celebrate singles. They celebrate singles coming together. So, as far as that goes, pretty wholesome, pretty cool. So, that's why you've got now this big package with 111,000. But I started thinking about that, and I'm like, all right, World Singles Day. Wargaming is celebrating it. Okay, fine. And then I thought to myself, well, why did this come about? What's the background of this thing other than just a good idea? Well, if you recall, in China in the 80s, they started the one-child policy. And then in 93, all of a sudden they have this, let's celebrate, singles. I'm not going to get into the rest of it past that, to be quite honest. It's fraught, I think. There's probably people watching who are, don't think it's a big deal or whatever. I don't know, man. It's kind of unsavory to me, to be quite honest. The connotation of where this thing came from and the policy that probably eliminated a significant number of individuals off the earth in various unsavory ways, to overuse a word I've just used again. And then we've turned it into I say we as in we humans, the world, right? Because China's part of the world, we're part of the world. But now we as a collective group are turning it into a big shopping day, celebrating what the genesis was something very, very dark. And I don't know, man. Maybe I'm making a big deal out of nothing. What's funny is every time I take stances and things like this, I end up watching my viewer count go down. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious, man, what you guys might think about it without getting too crazy. Let's not get into an argument. I guess even just mentioning it, but it was brought to the game. Wargaming said, hey, let's celebrate this. We're going to put a big package out for World Singles Day, and we're going to put it on the NA server, and we're going to put it on the same day as Veterans Day. So it is now in the public discourse as far as I'm concerned for World of Tanks and Wargaming. And I'm just sort of in the back of my mind thinking, I don't know if this is really something you wanted to do. Except for on the surface, we're piling on to a big shopping day in a very large demographic. I was going to say in a very large region, but of course they don't sell anything in China here on the NA because they've got their own server. So I'm sure over there's all kinds of crazy stuff being sold for World Single Day. Anyway, look it up, man. If you don't know anything about it, look it up. Look at the one-child policy, and then give it a thought. Give it a thought, because it's just very interesting to me that it's even a thing on the North American server. But never pass up an opportunity to sell things, I suppose. It's actually a pretty good deal, as I showed you with the gold. So if you're willing to look past everything else, then you get yourself a bunch of gold. All right, Christmas speculation. Well, that's pretty funny actually, because the tank I found that has one of my Christmas camos on it is actually the M41D in the Chinese tech tree. You can see it right there. It's got one of the gift paper camos on it. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier about Christmas and sort of my concerns on it. That just kind of watching the passing scene. Consider the fact that a lot of companies have gotten a lot of trouble for loot boxes. The babbling's already going on the forum about it's gambling and save the children and the turtles, and because the turtles buy too many loot boxes and then they get the plastic in their nose and all that good stuff. So my concern here is that this event might not be as nice as the ones in the past. I don't know anything about it necessarily because they haven't said anything about it. That's a little concerning as well because there's no information. Now, Wargaming does hold stuff close to the vest. I think we're going to come up to it. Really, probably somewhere around Thanksgiving or right after we'll start to get the early burblings of it. But Thanksgiving's a couple weeks away. It would be nice to have a little speculation or information. Not speculation, but information from Wargaming. Because people try to make purchase decisions. Of course, that goes back to what I was talking about with these sales on premium and some of these other things being pretty good deals. And then if you're waiting for Christmas but you missed that one, you might be sorry at Christmas because I don't know if it's going to be as good. Could very well be as good. Could be better. But I feel like there's a bit of a pullback on some of the good deals that we've been seeing. And I just have a feeling that it's not going to be as good this year. That's my point. And it's probably the whole thing wrapped together. If it gets to that, the whole, it's gambling and maybe gave out too much last 2 Christmases. People are sitting on a lot of stuff. You see it in the forums. Again, the forums is a echo chamber, but you see people talking about, I'm sitting on a bunch of gold. I'm sitting on a bunch of this, that, or the other. And then Wargaming runs the numbers and goes, well, we got people sitting on a whole pile of gold out there. Why would I do a special and just pile more gold on top of accounts that already have it? That's an economy problem. That's I don't have anything to spend my gold on problem. Perhaps if some of the premiums you could buy for gold, you would deplete some of those gold resources. I've gone through mine, but because I'm a community contributor, I liberally use it to change crews around, do things when you guys have requests, set up tanks, buy tanks so I can do reviews, all that stuff. So, I burned through a lot of gold, an unbelievable amount of gold. I had 150, 170 from last event. Because Wargaming gave me a bunch of boxes to show you guys what the value of it was. The value to you personally is up to you, obviously, but I opened the boxes and I said, here's what I got. Well, I went through that. That's pretty incredible because if you consider that amount of gold, it was $400-something just to buy on that package, right? $400-something just to get 111,000, and I went through more than that in 1 year as part of my CC stuff. So that's my concern with it. I don't know. So I guess everyone's got to make their own decision on whether they pull the trigger on deals that are going on before Christmas. But do not be surprised. My point is, do not be surprised if it's not quite as lucrative this year. Do not be surprised. I hope it's the same because it's been fantastic. And I think they've probably made pretty good money. So as far as the incentive for them to offer more or less the same thing, I think that's there. But is the current game situation and the game industry situation going to allow them to do it? I don't know. Let me know down below what you guys think. I could be, again, making a mountain out of a molehill right there. And plus, I titled this section Speculation, so pure speculation. I have no insider information on that. I just think it's interesting to watch as part of the industry and wargaming specifically as a community contributor, and see how these things morph through the year, and see if you can actually see indicators of things like that. And I feel like maybe I'm starting to see a little bit of the indicators based on the things that we've had, the specials, how good of deals things have been lately. And it seems to be like I'm seeing kind of a shave of the amount of stuff you can get, right? It seems to be getting a little harder to get, a little less stuff. So I'm wondering if that's then going to translate into the Christmas event. We'll see. Maybe it's 10 times better. I don't know. I can't see it if it could. I can't see how it would be better, to be honest, because the last 2 years have been amazing as far as what you can get out of the boxes. The other speculation is I just still don't know when the Renegade is going to be offered, so maybe that's the tank. It was very strange, that one, because they brought it out for TwitchCon. We've already done, community contributors and people have already done content on it, but it languishes. There's no essay on when it's going to come out. So as far as a tank that could be in boxes, that seems like it might be one of them, unless for some reason it comes out earlier at Thanksgiving and they got something else up their sleeve. I don't know. The double-barreled tank, maybe. That's out there as well. Perhaps that's one of the things that'll be in the box. Maybe both. Don't know. All right, guys, that is all I've got. It is 8:30. Time to wrap this up, edit it, get it out to you guys. I hope everybody's doing all right. Again, congrats to, what is the name again? Meldeeth, who won the Ram Panzer. I'll get that information to Domo. I appreciate all your input on that. I appreciate your support of the channel, as always. If you want ways to do so, you can look down in the description down there, and there's several ways to help me out, keep this channel going. That's all I've got for Sunday. We'll see you on Monday. Later.